Welcome back. The next phase of the war on Israel. Israel's defense minister readying troops for a ground invasion into Gaza. This as fears of a wider conflict are growing, with Hezbollah warning that it is now thousands of times stronger. Israel ramping up its defenses at the northern border with Lebanon and evacuating some of its cities there. And there is also unrest now in the West Bank as well. Joining me right now is Israeli Defense Forces spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner. Colonel, thanks very much for being here this weekend. Can you assess where we are this weekend in this war?
Thank you, Maria. We are now moving forward, escalating our efforts to destroy Hamas, make sure that they never, ever have the ability to launch and stage attacks against Israel ever again. We are taking away, eliminating their operational capabilities, their offensive capabilities, their command and control capabilities. We're seeking out and killing their leaders. So we are ramping that up. We are taking the necessary precautions in order to safeguard the people of Israel, but also we are preparing ourselves for an offensive that potentially could come in the coming days with regard to a ground operation.
How concerned are you that this war is about to broaden out?
We have a very, very strong military force. We have recruited the largest amount of reservists in the history of the state of Israel, some 300,000 servicemen and women. And indeed, we are prepared to fight, if needs be, on two or even multi-front war. We do want to be focused on Hamas, the situation and the paradigm where a terrorist organization becomes a terrorist government with a terrorist army can no longer be an accepted norm. This organization needs to be retired from the realm of existence once and for all, and that is our focus. Of course, we are watching towards the north. We are looking at Hezbollah. We are checking and making the necessary precautions in order to be strong in our defensive and offensive capabilities also in the north. And indeed, we have seen Hezbollah attacks against forces, including anti-tank guided missiles against our forces and also against civilians on the border with Lebanon. We have two core messages to Lebanon. First of all, as a sovereign state, don't let attacks originate from your territory. It is your responsibility to make sure Hezbollah does not get involved. And another message to Hezbollah, look very carefully how we are dismantling Hamas in Gaza. Step after step, target after target, location after location. Do you want to cross the threshold and become the next Hamas? I would highly recommend they look very closely and not cross that threshold.
Unbelievable. Hamas is also waging war on the public because it is manipulating what it is telling the public for public opinion, right?
Absolutely. We've seen a huge onslaught of their activities, their propaganda activities against every decent human being on this world by trying to manipulate emotions and exasperate also civilian despair within their own communities. I'll give you one example. We put out an announcement now 1 week ago calling on the people of northern Gaza to evacuate the northern Gaza Strip because we intend in operating against the hub of Hamas and their operations, which is in Gaza City. Hamas in return called on the people, no, stay put. Put yourself in harm's way. Make sure that you defend with your own lives against the operations of the IDF. And when the people weren't listening to them because they want to live, so they erected checkpoints on the route going down south, which we designated as a safe road that people could evacuate. And this is just one example. And then when you talk about the broader public opinion, they are lying on every event that takes place. We had an event this week where Palestinian Islamic Jihad, another terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip, launched 10 rockets against Israelis. One of them landed in the parking lot of a hospital inside Gaza Strip within moments of the incident. Hamas announced that hundreds of people had been killed in a rocket attack, a rocket strike by the IDF. It was false. It was fake news. There was no Israeli rocket strike. We determined that in our review of the incident. Even the damage on the ground appears to be limited damage and definitely not in line with the types of munitions that we use. We had Palestinian intercepts of conversations between terrorists admitting that it was a Palestinian Islamic Jihad rocket being fired and hitting the hospital. courtyard or parking lot. So
Right.
we have to be very, very wary of listening and quoting to Hamas. They are a immoral organization, but they're also not credible. So I wouldn't weigh or rely on anything they say about anything on the world. They are no different than North Korea in that respect.
Speaking of North Korea, Colonel, there are reports of weapons uncovered from the Hamas attack last week that seem to have come from North Korea. Can you confirm that? And also, what can you tell us about the hostages? How many are there? And what is the effort in terms of recovering and getting them out?
Indeed, Maria, we've seen a lot of weaponry that the terrorists were carrying on them. The vast majority of that is actually locally manufactured in Hamas's weapons capabilities, within their capabilities. But there is indeed, obviously, other weapons that come from around the world, and it could make their way into the Gaza Strip. Regarding the state and situation of the hostages are 203. This is men, women, children, elderly people, Holocaust survivors. This terrorist organization is really unbelievable in what it has done. What an abomination they are to humankind. With no rules, no regulations, there is nothing that they will not do. And this is what we're up against. And this is precisely the reason why the paradigm needs to change. We need to bring home the hostages immediately. And this terrorist organization needs to be banished from the realm of existence.
All right, we will be watching. Lieutenant Colonel, we are praying for your safety and the safety of all. We appreciate your time this weekend. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Maria. Have a good weekend.
Okay.